Okay. Hello and welcome to Dataless Creation. I don't really have a plan. I just wanted to get time in and, you know, just talk about what's on my mind. Um, I don't expect the chat to suddenly fill up with commentary, so I'm just been doing my thing. I've been wanting to be a content creator for a number of years now. I've been chipping away at it. I moved in May, so that threw everything into chaos. I'm working on a part of the property, and it's just, it's a little nuts. It's a little chaotic. You move across the country, and a lot of unexpected comes to be in your face. And so let me see about these volume levels. All right. Anyway, um, so what am I doing here? I have no idea, which is why I'm sitting here because I kind of go into things without too much of a plan. A lot of my shorts are off the cuff. They're with the phone in the moment and just, hey, here's what I'm doing and things like that. But I want to be more than that. I've got all kinds of software for editing audio and video, and the idea of me sitting at the computer and working a whole bunch of clips and different things together to make a coherent project video like some of these woodworkers that have been doing this for years. I'm just not that proficient. um, a lot of the stuff required my old workshop, which was fully functional, and I could easily kind of just set it and forget it. But then again, I also understand people don't want to just watch somebody working for 5 hours straight, generally speaking. Some do, but it's not for everybody. Um, so there's that. Um, Gaming is something I've always enjoyed. I sat at the computer for way too long when I was younger, and now not enough, it would seem. But I'm going to be starting to do more videos, more live streaming of various things. My workshop in my new location here is yet to be put together. So maybe I'll live stream working in that environment once it's more conducive. I'm kind of half living out of boxes with all the tools and things I have. Plus, I got a lot of work to do at this location because there's stuff when you own a home that you just gotta work on. I've been doing the floors. I've got to get air conditioning and the electrical, and just it's a lot of work. But I'm here to have fun. I think I'm gonna try and come up with a kind of a scheduling idea in terms of when I'm gonna just sit and chat. Like, this is the day of the week that I'm gonna be doing that, so that if people do enjoy what I'm doing and they want to follow along, you can interact with me. I'm here for the audience as much as for myself. I'm not looking at YouTube as, oh, I'm going to be the next viral video guy. Like, I'm not chasing it like that. I just want a natural build and growth of people interested in following along with this nut job. Um, I taught chemistry for a number of years. I left teaching for specific reasons, and it really had to do with, unfortunately, the economy at the time. And also, it turned into a mental health thing why I never went back. When I was a chemistry teacher, I, I had a lot of fun. I had my challenges. I certainly, looking back, was not the best teacher. I was young, I was naive, I was unstructured, and it wasn't the right environment for me to work in, especially at that age. Um, but the economy tanked, and then the school I was working at had to lay off 9 teachers, and then looking for a new job. It was 3,000 teachers trying to fill 300 positions. And so, life took a turn, and here I am with more skills and more talents than I went to college thinking I'd grow up getting. After college, my career path shifted, and it's shifted a few times. So, I'd like to talk about that. I'd like to talk about struggle. I'd love to talk about teaching. Um, I'm probably gonna consider having a chemistry tutoring channel or something like that at some point if this takes off. But I just, I'm gonna focus on this, be a renaissance man here if that's something that'll catch on with YouTube. Everyone that really seems to take off, it seems like they've got a focused intent on their channel, and I'm just not there yet. I'm working on it. I got too many hobbies, uh, but they're not hobbies to me. I'm a polymath. It's a word that many aren't familiar with. A polymath is somebody that's got it's aptitude and skill at various multiple fields of life, I would say. Multiple mastery would be the boiled down term. I'm gifted. And so when I get into a project and there's a learning process, I'm really interested in it, and I'll just gobble it up. Um, and once I've gotten to a certain proficiency and comfort zone, it's kind of like the dopamine is not there anymore. So that's when I change gears and I want to learn about something new. Um, so I've been constantly learning ever since I left school. Life is a school to me. I'm always learning every day. Um, it's fun, but sometimes when the lesson is a really important one, it's not fun. It hurts. There's a lot of tough lessons in life, and I'm here to share from my experiences. Hopefully, people are interested in that as well. I've had a lot of life. Years ago, I don't drink alcohol anymore. I got in trouble drinking alcohol, which is why I had to quit. And it was a life and death choice, in my opinion. That's it. I tried many different ways to get sober, but for me, it's just okay. Do you want to live or die? If you do that, you're gonna die. All right, not worth it. Learned every other lesson alcohol could teach me, which is pretty much why I said this is the stopping point. Um, but anyway, I had to get a license back, which required, I got a DWI, so I had to get my license back, and it required talking to a therapist for an evaluation and stuff. And the therapist asked me, early on in the conversation, she's like, "Have you had any trauma?" At which point I just cracked up in her face, not maniacally. I really laughed, heartfelt laugh, and I said, "Where should I begin?" And just rattled off a list of different things. And I'm perfectly fine, and I'm okay. Bit nuts, but I live with it in a healthy fashion. I'm good people. I help the people that I can. So, but you are different after experiencing traumas in life. A lot of people have experienced one form of trauma or another, and some others unfortunately have had trauma like a chain of events for their whole life. I'm somewhere, yeah, I'll call it a gray zone. I don't know where to put myself because I'm okay. Like if I had a magic lamp and I could make a wish, I wouldn't change a thing about my past whatsoever. That that's a fact. Like I wouldn't change my past if someone offered me money to. And it's because I'm sitting right here. And I've struggled to achieve what dreams I've achieved so far. I worked hard, struggling along the way to get where I am, and I'm a success in a form that isn't calculated by the size of my bank account. I'm not a millionaire. I'm not a career with a retirement plan individual that's, got it all figured out by any means, but I know how to survive. Oh, I know how to survive. That's not even a question. Question is, how do you live? Are you living? Are you enjoying? Are you appreciating your experience here in this world? Or are you in survival mode? I'm thriving in my own way. I'm not raking in piles of treasure, but my treasure is spiritual in a lot of ways. I think an example of that would be what happened earlier, just not more than an hour ago. I was outside, came back into the house. I was going into the kitchen to check on, the crock pot, got some pasta sauce going. And I saw something moving in the sink, and I'm just like, oh. And it turned out to be this cute little mouse. I mean, it's cute until it's like, eating your food. But anyway, I would call it a hopper. Various stages of mouse development, they have different names for. And hoppers, they jump. But this guy couldn't quite get the lip and get out of the sink, so he was freaking out. And now all of a sudden, King Kong walks into the room and he's like, "Whoa, what's this?" So little mouse scared in the corner of the sink now. He's like, "What's this dude gonna do?" And I'm just like, I don't feel right shooting fish in a barrel, so to speak. So I grabbed a tall glass container and just kind of slowly lowered it in and just looked at him. And he was just like, okay. And he just walked in. And I tipped it up a little bit and he just sat there looking, and I put the lid on it carefully. And then I put my hand underneath to keep him safe, because that I love animals. I love critters more than anything. And I walked him outside, and then I put it down in the grass and opened the lid. And he just sat there kind of in the palm of my hand, so to speak, in the glass container for a minute. And I was like, it's okay. And tapped on the back of it. And then he just, boop. I know. He's probably going to come back into my house. Probably going to eat my food at some point. But, you know, maybe not. There's a lot of cats around here. But anyway, oh, look at that. My pants are in the background. That's a lovely sight. My painting pants. There we go. This camera does tracking and stuff. I think I have to like wave my hand at it. So if you're Italian or you talk with your hands a lot, it's gonna move on you. But anyway, I don't expect that I'm gonna be gathering a huge audience just talking to myself here, but I personally don't really care. Again, I'm just chatting about what's on my mind, and I'm gonna be setting up some kind of routine. Um, but mind might be wandering, and I mean, I was diagnosed with ADHD, and I would say there's accuracy to it, but there's also questions to it, because what exactly is ADHD? Because I know a lot of people claiming they have ADHD, and they are not like me at all. Uh, Distractible. Yeah, I would say I'm distractible because, in a sense, I'll get lost in my own head thinking. So I'll have to like rewind part of a show because I completely missed the dialogue because I was having some movie in my head that I was interacting with because I had some thought. Uh, it happens sometimes when I'm reading. If I have like annoying, boring stuff to read, like I'll just suddenly just, all right, I can't focus on this. I gotta think, I gotta get up and do something else because it's just tedious. Um, my brain responds well to dopamine producing activities, which, can be troublesome. A lot of people that have been diagnosed with ADHD that either quit their medication suddenly or stop their medication and can't replace it with a different medication, they can turn to alcohol, and it's a risk. But there are a lot of good medications out there that do work for people with ADHD. So if you do suffer from that and you don't like the medication you're on, I suggest strongly that you talk to your doctor about that. Um, Myself, I had a lot of trouble getting doctors after college, um, because there's a transition point where ADHD was all the norm, and everyone's getting this medication regime and then regimen, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh well, now that's not really good. We should use these, and I got lost in the mix, and I ended up not taking the medication long enough for me to get comfortable with myself and finally figure out how to function to the most extent that I can. I still get bills that'll be like, ooh, I forgot to pay that one. I gotta double down this month. But, I lose track of time easily. I lose track of what day of the week or what the date is if I'm left to my own devices and have nothing to hold me accountable. Um, I feel like in a world a couple hundred years ago, I'd have been a great explorer because it's kind of just like, oh, I got this energy, I got to put it to something, and you know, you're exploring and mapping out new territories and stuff like that. You got busy work to do. Like for me now in this world of computers and screens and roads and no horses to ride on in terms of like going out to discover things like ADHD's not an advantageous thing as much as it used to be. But in the world of AI and things like that, I would have to say ADHD could potentially be a benefit to people. That thinking outside the box, the neurodiversity is something that computers can't reproduce. It's unique. So, anyway, I just wanted to put that out there. I am only going to talk to myself for a limited amount of time tonight because I don't actually have a topic to get into off the bat. But I would definitely like to talk further about what it was like being a teacher. I would like to talk about what we're seeing now with kids and education and challenges present. Um, I love technology, so talking about computers and the world we're in right now is vastly different than the world I was born into in terms of technology. So computers developed as I did in many, many ways. So anything is fair game. I love talking about the things I understand, and I love learning about the things that I don't know yet. My form of neurodiversity allows me to integrate various unrelated subjects and kind of cross link them in many ways. So we might be talking about history and something from chemistry or mathematics or science, we'll say, could fall into place where pattern recognition says, oh well, that piece of history or that psychological concept that kind of falls along with this scientifical, oh my god, it sounds like I didn't go to school. um you know I see the patterns in various things and they can cross reference and be analogous in many different subjects and fields. So that's part of the polymath issue I have. I don't know if it's an issue, but it's certainly part of my neurodiversity. Uh, but I'm gonna cut it short for tonight. But next Thursday night, 9 o'clock, gonna do another sit and chat and not be gaming. I'm gonna continue to upload shorts of the woodworking and construction and the oh my god, my house is gonna fall apart and I'm gonna make it not fall apart because I don't want it to fall apart. Kind of like having a roof over my head. The landlord that I used to have would know something about that. He still owes me my deposit back. I'm gonna fight with him over this if I have to. But yeah, no, the house I moved out of was a basement apartment, and there were some structural things that needed to be addressed. But now I live here, and there's structural things that I'm addressing. So with that, and probably an audience of 0 people, if you did watch this and you liked me rambling to myself because you're curious where I'm going with this, thank you. I appreciate you. I love the idea that I'm trying to build, the dream of being able to sit and chat, communicate with my audience, continue doing my various projects, and try and educate where I can, learn where I can, and grow where I can. Because I'm here to live, not just survive. So if you're feeling like you're just surviving and you don't know how to fully embrace what life can give you, come chat with me. Pick my brain. Throw some cannon fodder at me and see how I can duck and dodge and redirect the trajectory. Sometimes words are slow, but sometimes they come too fast, and then I get tongue tied. Rather not get tongue tied. Anyway, well, if you watched it this far, thank you so much. I appreciate you. And if you're interested in some weird old Renaissance man, come follow along. Appreciate you.